morning and welcome to Saturday Morning Momentum, episode 16. We are back from a hiatus of 1 week because I was out of town, but I'm back and ready to get started. So welcome to everyone who is joining us this morning. If you're new to Saturday Morning Momentum, I am here with my lovely friends Liz, Jen, and Lee, and we are going to get stuff done. We have a power hour, and we just are trying to build a community where we can give each other support, hold each other accountable, and get some things done that we really want to get done in our lives. So anyone who is here after the fact that you couldn't make it live, welcome also. Let us know what you got up to during, Power Hour. We'd love to know. So good morning, ladies. Welcome. Welcome. Y'all look ready and raring to go. Did y'all have a good week? I know just from comments that I've had, privately with y'all, some of y'all were ready for the week to be over with. Liz and I met and had our, halfway day powwow just to talk about what's going on with our 25 for 2025. Some things we were happy with, some things we're like, we got to get on the ball with. And I know, Jen, you've been having a bunch of stumbling blocks lately, but today we can kind of like maybe put all of that aside and just kind of focus on a few things just for that hour and see if we can get some things done and see if we can get into a better mind space to handle some of those stumbling blocks. What do y'all think about that?
I like it.
Give it a go.
So this past week, I did get two of my intentions of my 3 stars done. And I'm very excited about that. I finally got my running shoes that I needed. Haven't put them on and gone walking yet, but that's because I have something up my sleeve of how I'm going to get myself moving on that. And then I also finished my Chain Gang All-Stars book that I need to finish and got all my notes prepared for the book meeting I had. I don't know, not Luna. Bailey's in and out. I apologize. So got that taken care of. And one of the things I'll be working on today is that summer project list. I wanted to meet with Liz first this week and then kind of think about what could I get done during the summer months realistically. I don't want to make a big old long list and then feel overwhelmed by it. I might have a master list and then pick and choose what I can do in July and what to do in August. So that's the only reason I haven't done that yet. So what about you, Liz? Did you accomplish what you set out to do?
Yes and no. So it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. Well, it's been a lot of a roller coaster, but some good things that I did do that I think people might find useful is I have been really interested in moving back to analog as much as possible. So I stayed off of the internet as much as possible this week, and I cut all of my subscription services. And I started with just the movies and TV, and then I was like, no, this feels amazing. And a couple of things I have on yearly, but I made sure that they're not going to renew. And that'll leave me with 1 subscription, hopefully going forward in 2026. Another tip is talk to your internet providers. I have been overpaying by a considerable amount for the amount of internet that I needed. We're not a big gaming household. We didn't need it. I knocked it down, and I think I cut my bill by like over $100. So
Wow.
yeah, people look into that. But so yeah, I've been making progress in that regard, been making all my appointments. So I'll take the wins.
And that's one thing I have to say that came out of the conversation with Liz and I is we were talking about that. And my husband and I have been on the fence with Disney and Hulu, Disney Plus and Hulu, because they have merged. And I feel like it's just difficult to like get into your accounts. And I don't know. We don't use either streaming service as much as we use our other streaming services. So I'm like, we just cut it out, see if we can live without it. I mean, worst case scenario, if it is a worst case scenario, is you can always go back and then we could get a bundle where they have it together instead of
Yeah.
paying these two separate charges. So anyway, that was one thing that came out of the meeting. I made a list, and it's like that's kind of
It's
things that
wild.
my list, and that's one of the things I could do for my summer project.
I had no idea I had so many subscriptions. Like none. I was like, because it started with just the needy and I knew those, but then when I looked further, I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, but another thing I
I didn't
find,
use it.
this is one thing I don't like about having an auto renewal thing. And I've gotten to where if I do have an auto renewal, after it renews, I will go in manually and undo the manual renewal because
Yeah.
I find you forget that you have one of these subscriptions to something, anything. It doesn't just have to be streaming. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, where did that come from? And then you realize, you know what? I haven't used that subscription service.
Well, whenever I would sign up for something, the first thing I would do is look at when the expiration date was for the auto renewal, and then I'd put it on my Google Calendar and set an alert like a few days ahead of time. So that if you do have a lot of subscriptions, that is one way to manage them without having to think about it.
That's a great idea. A great idea. Because this is the other thing too, and the only reason now I do that is because I had started a subscription, and it was one price, and within the year, the company merged and decided to change their package up or whatever, and it was substantially more. And I didn't realize until I got hit with the charge, and I'm like, great, you know. So what about you, Lee? How did your week go?
Well, I had a great time on my vacation. The day I got back, I got sick. So I've had like a head, throat cold thing going on.
That's a huge stumbling block.
That's kind of
and you were working through it too. It wasn't like you could not stay. I mean, you couldn't stay home.
No, because my last vacation that I went on, I got sick the day I came home and I stayed home for a week after that. So my boss was like, I was like, just so you know, I'm not feeling good. He's like, we're not playing this game where you go on vacation and then you're sick.
Oh,
He's playing around. He's playing around.
Okay.
You were getting ready to come for him.
Yeah, no,
Me too.
But I was like, that's okay. I'll just sit here and be miserable at work. So
yeah,
it's
and
fine.
when you pass by, I'll sneeze on you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that did throw off all the things that I wanted to do. So
yeah, because I can imagine your energy level was probably low.
So much pressure in my head and my eyes, and all I wanted to do was just shut my eyes all the time to get some like relief.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get any of the things I wanted to get done. I did get a little bit of other things, but and a suggestion I wanted to make for subscription services is what we do is we plan like, okay, Andor and Handmaid's Tale were coming up. So we're going to get Hulu and Disney Plus bundle. Now that's over, we're going to cancel that one.
Okay.
And if we have other shows we want to watch on that, we're good. Like we try to prioritize one streaming service at a time, watch the things that we want to watch. Maybe we're not watching it brand new when it comes out, but we'll watch it at some point during that month. We'll watch whatever we're going to watch, and then we cancel it and we move on to the next one.
That's a great idea.
That way you kind of make your way around. And if there's something we absolutely want to watch, yeah, we'll watch that one real quick and then just cancel it or whatever. But because these things, I mean, people used to say, oh, I got to cancel cable and get streaming. Well, streaming, all these services could be more than cable. You're better off with that.
Yeah, I agree. That is a good tip. Jen, what about you?
Yeah, well, it's been a rough week. If you are on Kelsey's Discord or mine, you know, I have a lot of stuff going on. My mom has Parkinson's, and Tim, my husband, and I went with our daughter and 2 cats to stay this past weekend. And my mom fell while we were there. Thankfully, we were there to get her up because she's 72. My dad's 79. He can't pick her up by himself. So we were able to get her up, and she didn't break anything. She had like a knot on the back of her head, but Tim is a nurse, so that's good. Everything was fine. But that's very stressful because they're 3.5 hours away. And then my dad is losing vision in one of his eyes. And so we have tried so hard to get them to move back over this way, but they just don't want to. So that's stressful. And then I guess it was helping get my mom up. I did something to my back. So I've been having some issues with my lower back pain and like pain shooting down my butt cheek and my leg. But I did go to the orthopedic doctor yesterday and got a shot, and he gave me some medicine. So it feels a little bit better today. I just have to be careful, which is really difficult to do because my youngest daughter, my only child who still lives at home, is severely disabled, and she weighs 85 pounds and she's about as tall as I am. And she is nonverbal in some ways, but she can communicate like a little bit if she wants certain songs. She's obsessed with music and food. So my little mini me there. I have to bathe her. She's still in diapers. So it's a lot of lifting and stuff. And then my husband, it works as a surgical nurse and orthopedic coordinator. So he works a lot. Mm-hmm. So over the summer, it's pretty much me with my daughter, although we do have respite reimbursement from a program in the state. So I can get somebody to keep her, but that's only, going to give you a certain amount of reimbursement money, and it's expensive. Yeah. Now, July 7th through 11th, she will be at camp. They have a local camp called Camp Smile, which is wonderful. She goes every summer, and she gets to have that camp experience. And I get like a week alone to be free of everything, so to speak. So all of that. And then my daughter's getting married in October, one of my older daughters. So that's going on. Financially, we are in some difficult times right now. And so I teach on the OutSchool platform, and I am just not getting student enrollments. It's just gone so far down. So This morning I had a virtual interview with a tutoring company. So I hope to get that, position so I can make some money, because it would be very helpful right now. So that's going on. But despite all of that, I did accomplish 3 out of 4 of my intentions. I prepped for my Picnic at Hanging Rock live show. I made the outline. I'm meeting with my co-host later today so we can kind of get our, ourselves on board and make sure we're on the same page and, preparation for the live show, because neither one of them has ever done a live show. So they're kind of nervous. So they're like, can we meet on Zoom first? I said, absolutely. So I'm excited to be able to talk with them today. Today's given me a lot of life and some smiles just being with you all. I did plan my schedule for Summerween and other summer events, the books I want to read, the things I want to watch, the things I want to do, but keeping in mind it's all flexible, I worked on my reading journal, and I was happy to do that. And it's funny that you all are talking about canceling subscriptions. We must be like on the same wavelength or something, because this past week I canceled my Hulu subscription. I mostly have it for The Handmaid's Tale, and I know the final season is, it has aired. I'm not in the right headspace right now to watch that final season. I just can't do it mentally right now because of everything. So I'm like, let me cancel Hulu, and when I'm ready, I'll pick it back up. I also canceled my Paramount subscription because I had gotten that so I could watch Twin Peaks, because I missed the boat on that. I'd never watched it. So I finally watched it like a few months ago. And I still need to finish watching The Return, which is like the much, much later, like a season 3. But I can do that later. I'm not in the right headspace for Twin Peaks right now either. So I'm like, let me just take Paramount away. And then I also canceled Everend, which was really hard for me to do because I like their audiobooks and I like doing that. But I was just like, they keep wanting me to pay more to unlike this title and that title, and I'm not doing it. So I cut that off. So my audiobooks now are coming from Libro FM. And I typically just pay the credit and get one audiobook a month. And I support my local bookshop. If you're ever in Mobile, Alabama, you need to go to the Haunted Bookshop.
So I
Yes,
can do
I
that.
love the
through-
haunted bookshop.
This is so good. And I like being able to support something locally with Libro FM. So the streaming services I have now, I mean, Amazon Prime. I hate Jeff Bezos and Amazon, but here I am. What am I going to do?
Right.
And I have Netflix, and then I have Shudder / AMC because that is a necessity. I'm not trying to be funny, but that's like part of what I do, you know, in my YouTube and some of my teaching. So gotta have my horror stuff. So that's what's going on. Oh, my daughter is coming later this afternoon. My daughter who's getting married, she's actually going to spend the night tonight. She is a fellow horror fan. So she and I have a great time together. So we may upload a YouTube video where we play a little horror game, and potentially after her wedding, she and I have been talking about doing a podcast, like mother-daughter, like a generation.
Oh, that'll be fun. Yeah.
Horror movie thing. But I know zero about podcasting, but I know Liz is here, and I may have to beg Liz to give me a little help. But
Absolutely.
I think that would be fun, you know, and getting that mother-daughter, that generational, you know, kind of conflict sometimes on how we respond to different movies. So there are things that I'm doing to make my life better. Thank you.
I was going to say,
psychiatry and medication, and my wonderful therapist too, with her teaching me strategies and coping skills so I can weather all of this. And all of you, I was, I don't want to cry. I'm so happy to be here this morning with all of you who are on camera and all of you who are watching. This community means a lot to me. And I just want to say, I love you all. And I'm going to stop talking now.
We love you
I
too.
love you too. Look, I'm sending you hearts. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's important for people to know that, you know, we're normal people just like everybody else out there, and that, you know, you might have a week that's awesome and everything's going right, but then you also can have weeks that are just, you know, crappy, and, you know, you're either sick or you've got unexpected things that crop up, or you're dealing with a lot of personal stuff that's very heavy. It's like, it's a very hard. So, you know, that's another reason why I wanted to do this too, is that you can watch a lot of videos about polished people who tell you a list of these wonderful things you can do, and do this and do that and do this or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's easy for you to say because you're at a level, you know, and they might be having stumbling blocks and all that too, but they're at a level that is not always as realistic as what's going on. So that was another reason why I wanted to do this, because it's holding me accountable, but it's also giving people a space where we're regular people. And these are some of the things that we have to endure, you know, in a regular basis, you know, and you have seasons. You have seasons. And right now, Jen, you're in a season of sacrifice or a season of sorrow. It's whatever you want to label that season. That's your season, you know, and sometimes your season is short and sometimes it's long, you know, and you have to figure out other ways to cope with what's going on so you don't lose your identity in the mix of it. So let's see who's here. I'm going to go ahead and put the banner up so people can start putting what they want, what intentions, you know, y'all are planning on working on during this time. Carolyn, Michelle from Carolina Sweetheart, she popped in because she is out running errands and clearing out stuff from her storage unit to donate, hoping to finish up before the heat of the day sets in. Just wanted to pop in. Michelle is one of our newest members of our JP Beaumont crew, buddy read that we're doing, but she wanted to say hi and hope that we all have an amazing weekend and stay cool. So I thought that was wonderful. I told her she gets a gold star for being up and about and, you know, really kicking butt already early this morning. So hello, Molly and Alexis and Swank. Today is Happy Food Truck Day, Happy World Body Pearson's Day, and Happy Paul Bunyan Day. Wow, a tall tale.
I want a nose ring. Today's the day, right?
Go for it.
And good morning to M, and good morning to Alicia. And yes, Alexis is praising you, Liz, for taking a stand with your streaming. And then we have a lot of highs. Eleanor's here. I finished 2 books this week and plan to read 1 more to complete my goal for the month, which is excellent. Eleanor also had the intention of finishing Changing All Stars as well, and attended our very long book club meeting.
So good. Go find it on Catch Channel. Go find it now. It's so
I got to read the book so I can watch it then.
Well, I was like, everybody stuck with us. I couldn't even believe it was 2 hours and 12 minutes. Like, until Alex said something, I was like, holy crap, because I don't have a clock. There's a timer, obviously, when I'm live, but I don't ever really pay attention to that. I always pay attention to the clock at the bottom. And on my Mac, I don't have that clock at the bottom. I don't know why, but I don't know if it's because I'm on Google Chrome for this instead of like another browser. I don't know. But anyway, I'm like, oh my gosh. But we just had so much to say and talk about that. I don't know. But I felt like it went well. So I'm glad you said that, Liz, because it's like you need an outside perspective.
Really interesting, I thought.
I told Alex afterwards, I said, well, people stuck with us, so they must have wanted to hear what we had to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good morning, Margaret. Welcome. Alicia says, I know Netflix subscriptions have it where you can pause the subscription. That's awesome to know. And good morning, Susan. Happy Saturday to you. Streaming is getting expensive. I think with Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, live TV, it's $124. I pause Netflix when needed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a very good idea. They don't have any streaming subs.
Nice.
Well, I think part of the issue too is it used to be you could share your information with people. And that really is kind of funky. They don't let you do that because we have Netflix and we have 4 spots. Yeah. And so the way I think is if you have 4 spots, 4 people should be able to use the spots. Right. Who cares if they're physically in your household or not? You know, and then if you want to travel, it's like you want to be able to watch your stuff wherever you're at. So then it becomes an issue. So that to me kind of rubs me the wrong way. I mean, I know it's the greed and all that kind of stuff, but that makes me kind of sad because you know, they're making it difficult for you to want to be loyal to their streaming service, you know.
Yep.
Good morning to Tina. Likes the idea of a mother-daughter podcast. Susan says, I am thinking canceled Everand. I did not like the service because it kept locking me out of books because I was listening to too many. It didn't say that's what they were doing. But my friend and I stood side by side, asked for the same book. Mine said not available. She tried after me and it said available. Everand finally said yes, and they cut you off. So I canceled the service.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's good. You can stand by your intentions for that. So Alicia's intentions are coffee, and I'll be adding books for Topango, then editing some videos. Excellent. I was able to accomplish 3 of my 3 intentions for the week. Gold stars. Molly will be concentrating on the kitchen. Excellent. Swank's going to finish her July Bougeot spread today. Fun. Am says, I like to read during this power hour. We're in limbo waiting on some life-changing news, so I need a distraction.
Lots of love, Am.
Love, yes. Susan says, I'm going to be cleaning my old car for resale and need to replant 2 of my huge split-leaf plants. That sounds fun. Not the cleaning the car part, but with the planting part. And thank you so much, Alicia, for putting in our live show. And Alexis will be working on her HRCYED TBR. I don't know.
Hardest reading challenge you've ever done?
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's
Oh,
impressive.
Yes, I'm like, I have no idea.
I didn't either.
Alexis, whenever she posts what she's doing, reading for the month, I love how she does her spread. She always posts it in Discord, and I love how it's organized and it's in her spread. Doesn't necessarily mean she gets to everything, but it's really cool to see her variety of books that she reads. So I'll be interested to see if she posts. And for this hour, though, I'm focusing on planning my day, weekend, upcoming week, drinking coffee and focusing on Lonesome Dove. Excellent. I really enjoyed Lonesome Dove. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to eventually getting to the miniseries. I can't wait to watch that chat. My hold hasn't come in. Yeah, poor Alexis has been waiting on her hold. And yes, much greed. Everything has pivoted to a monthly sub.
Yeah.
So, Liz, what are your intentions for Power Hour?
I have a couple books I have to put on Pango, but my big thing is I'm in the middle of estate planning, and one thing I want to do is make sure I have a binder for my executor because there was not a binder when I was an executor, so I learned a lot. Let's just say that. So I need to start doing that. I think I'm going to do the password tracker first. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. How about you, Lee?
I broke my day, my weekend down into 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour tasks that I could do. So I'm going to try to get as many of my 5-minute and 15-minute tasks done as I can.
I love it. I love that.
I like that approach.
Yes. Gretchen Rubin always says anything you can do in a minute, do it now kind of thing. So
And I'm notorious for writing it down instead of doing it. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just do them.
Yes, yes, I love that. Love it. Very, very focused and proactive. What about you, Jen?
I'm going to I have a horror trivia game, so I'm going to kind of look through that and see what questions I might want to have, for me and Laurel to answer without cheating. So I'm not going I'm not going to cheat. You heard it here. I'm just going to look at the questions and be like, this one. I'm not going to like skew it to where it's only ones that I know. Or I may get, I should probably get Tim to pick some questions. That's what I'll do. He's still asleep, but if he wakes up, I'll tell him to pick the questions. That way there won't be any accusations thrown my way. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to plan because I do need to record. Well, I don't need to. I want to record some YouTube videos. Nobody's telling me I need to do that. That's me wanting to do it because I still need to record. Want to record my mid-year freak out tag video. I've taken the notes so I know what my answers are. So I want to record that. And then I want to record my plans for Summerween, which is not going to be concrete, but Summerween and other summer events, a casual, probably rambly video, to be honest with you all. Anyway, I'm planning the game and videos.
Yes, and I love how you reframed from need to want. Yes, because that takes pressure off of you in case you decide you don't want to do it.
Exactly. Exactly. I've been in therapy for years, and every time I make headway, there's still so much more to go. But it's
we always, Liz and I talked about this the other day. We always have room for improvement, no matter how much you think you've gotten, or ahead of the game or whatever. There's always room for improvement, and sometimes you have to take a step back before you can take those steps forward. So that's okay. That's okay. For me, I am going to be working on my schedule for the week. I didn't get to plan yesterday because I had other tasks to do, and then I'm going to be working on my summer project list. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So let me get our clock up. Our kitty cat all ready to go. Here we go. I'm going to start it. So happy Power Hour, everyone. And we'll see you back in an hour. Hello, welcome back. How did everybody do? I was scared by the kitty cat. I was a busy bee. Okay, so first of all, I got my plan for next week, except I need to see when my oldest son is going to work, because that will determine when I go help my dad this week. Because now he needs to be home with Bailey. And then I did my summer project list and already designated what I want to really focus on in July, which is basically clear and clutter. I got to finish my scrapbook room. I have to continue organizing my home library. I have to clear my closet out, and also try to clear. Well, no, I didn't choose the bedroom closet yet. I need to clear out my office. The closet probably will be the last thing, even though it's murderous. Trying to get me. And then I made my to-do list for today, a morning routine, and was putting my dates in for the Friends of the Library because I'm supposed to be volunteering over there. So I got a lot done.
Nice.
I'm very proud of myself. And then I was typing a little message to Mindy because Mindy just popped in. So how did you do, Liz?
Not as well as that, but that's what did I do? I did get my Pango stuff done, so that's good. And a lot of passwords. I did not realize quite how many passwords or things require passwords that I had to put in this binder. So it is a work in progress, but I got a good start.
Very good. Very, very good. I mean, at least you feel accomplished, like you're accomplishing something and you're making progress, because what you're doing is like a big, huge thing.
Yeah.
You know, I have to start doing that. It's what I call my book of life.
This is kind of what it is.
Yeah, the book of life. Trying to make sure, and like to piggyback on what Liz said. Liz didn't have anything like to start with, and she had to figure everything out. That's kind of how we've been with my mom passing, and then my mother-in-law. It's like we didn't have anything in place. And so I'm learning a lot from this process that I don't want my own boys to go through. Yeah, exactly. And if for some reason I have to hand this to somebody else, like say my sister, for example, or even my husband, you know, I just have to make sure that they're not having to like it be a mystery and they have to figure everything out, because it's very stressful. And you don't realize how many moving parts are to when somebody transitions out of this world, for sure.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it like a choose your own adventure too, to kind of like bring some levity to it, because it is kind of like a serious thing. So we'll see how that goes. I know people who are in charge will appreciate that. So
yes, I would hope so. Because I mean, it's something that has to be done, but hopefully you don't make it so daunting, you know, that they can be like, you know.
Yeah.
Lee, how did you do?
I did pretty good. I got all of my 5-minute things done. I got a couple 15 minutes done, and then a couple extra things that I was just like, I don't want to commit to something else, so let me just do these. And I updated my reading spreadsheet, which I didn't realize was that far behind. So.
Excellent. You were a busy bee like me. We were all busy bees, but I just feel like I got a lot of different moving parts done, you know, which usually I'm only working on maybe perhaps one thing. So I don't know. Now, of course, I have to implement everything that I put down. That's the thing. Like, I feel like I'm a really good planner, but then like to implement it.
I love planning, but executing not always.
Sometimes I'm like, why did I put that on my list? I really don't want to do that. So how did you do, Jen?
I did not get my horror questions because Tim is still asleep. So I promise I'm going to wait for him to make sure that I don't cheat. And Laurel has just a fair chance of I do. So I worked on plans for videos. I am doing like I said, the mid-year freak out. So I'll probably film that today. And then I worked on also just a video where I'm just going to talk about some of my current obsessions or favorite things. I've never done that before, but I'd like to do that. So I'm going to do that. And then I took some more notes because I'm working on a deep dive video into Night Film by Marisha Pessel, because I finally read that a few months ago. and I am obsessed with it. So I've been taking those, working on that video. So that one's a work in progress.
Very nice, very nice.
Sorry, I had to shout out to my people out in the living room that'll just letting Tootie bark incessantly. Sorry about that. Yes, because his little bark, sometimes I'm like, please do not bark anymore. He barks at everything. I think it's an old age thing, honestly, because he never used to do that. And I'm like, what is going on with you? It's like he's like a curmudgeonly old man or something. Okay, well, that sounds good. You were productive too. You were. And I do think you're being fair by letting Tim pick you questions.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even though I know that you would very much not want to peek, I could just see you being a little swayed.
Yeah. Like, I can't let my own child defeat me. No, not in the horror realm. But if she does win, and if she is crowned the ultimate queen of horror, then I will say it is because she was taught by the best. And you always want your students and children to exceed your achievements. You always want better for your students and your children, of which she was both, because I did homeschool her all the way through. So I am both her mother and her teacher.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. So Molly popped in, and before, like, pretty much midway into Power Hour, dishwasher is running and some rinsed tins are draining, and time for a sit down.
Yeah.
So very, very good. We had quite a few people in. Kaylin came in to say hello. Chris Wildfire came in. Also Mindy and Emma. So we had some people pop in as we were working on our Power Hour. And Tina said, did some things around the house while listening to my audiobook. Great way to pair. I like that. Em read a little, ate some leftovers for breakfast, and did some light cleaning. Excellent. Molly said, I'm still having a sit down, but the dishwasher was the most urgent task for the day. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's whatever. We're definitely not going to judge. It's whatever you had on your agenda to do for today. And if that's all you do, then that's perfect. Alicia got coffee, then managed to add 25 books to Pango, and still about more to add later on. Very good. And Eleanor made a to-do list for this weekend, searched recipes for the week, and started a grocery list. Love that. Esther Jane, hello. It's been a busy morning dealing with the guy here to take down a woodshed that collapsed in the winter. Yeah, that's a major project you have coming up. Is that a little beagle dog you have in your profile picture? I'm sorry. I just noticed that. It's cute, your puppy dog. Swank said, almost done with July, working on daily holidays now and listening to 80s rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Alexis is making great progress on my TBR planning. Wonderful. Can't wait to see what you're going to have for July. And I did finish Brady and sent Storm the email, so you will get my thoughts soon. Yay! So nice. Esther Jane doesn't do Discord, which I totally respect that. And she'll send Stormy an email with all of her thoughts about our big book, adventures we're having. Because we started with Beaumont. Stormy found out that another series that J.A. Jance writes, it's a Joanna Brady series. And she found out that at some point the two series collide. And there's actually two books where those characters kind of work together. So we were at a point where we can read a Beaumont book, then a Joanna book, Beaumont and Joanna. So when they collide, we'll be at that meeting spot. So excited that Stormy realized that, because I would not have, because J.A. Jance is new to me. It's one of the books that I, inherited from my mom. But anyway, it's been fun doing this, because it seems like we pick up somebody new every book that we read. So our group, is really expanding. And it all started because Stormy was reading this book for middle grade March and wanted a buddy reader. So yeah, that sounds great. Everybody did wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So what are our intentions for the upcoming week? Liz, you want to share what you got on your agenda?
Well, July is the go hard month. So I have a ton of things to do. So I have to get them done. And so one of the things that I saw online that I thought was kind of fun is, I don't know what it's called, but the idea behind it is it's a decluttering challenge where on day one, you get rid of one item, day two, two items, and so on till you hit 30 days and 465 items. So I'm definitely doing that. I definitely want to get rid of, so I'm a big collector. If you were in my house, I have collections all over the place. I need to pare that down. I would like to move. I need to get rid of some of them for sure. So I need to do that as well. And then put a pin on this estate planning and have it all ready for the lawyer in like a week and a half. So
Excellent. Yes, excellent. I had to drop off paperwork yesterday because I did not realize this. I guess it's different state to state, but my mother-in-law's car, she wanted it to go to Andrew. But of course, my mother-in-law passed away, not realizing she was going to pass away, and never made that transaction because she was still driving her vehicle. So I was under the assumption, and I should have just reached out to my friend Donna when it happened just to make sure she could verify it or not. But I thought that it had to be part of succession. But in Louisiana, it does not. So we could have taken care of the car months ago, and I didn't realize that. So I dropped paperwork off to her, and she's going to take care of drawing up all the papers and everything that we need and get my husband and his brother to sign everything, and then, go forward so that Andrew can get that vehicle. So anyway, I just didn't realize there's so many different rules, but I just assumed that because my friend, when he was going through it, of course, I think it was Nashville or Kentucky, he was dealing with it, and it had to be part of secession, but it could be because he was out of state,
Yeah. Well, this process is updating because I've had Will for about 20 years and I have to update it because a lot of things have changed. And I thought that that would be an easier process than it is. Here's your reminder that it is not. So do it.
Right. Lee, how about you? What about you?
I feel like Liz, like power for July, and it's in the dead of summer. So I'm like trying to be as productive as possible. But I don't think the first week of July is going to be that for me. So I'm going to check off 3 spots on my bingo board for the summer reading. I'm going to renew my library card, which is on the 1st. So I'm going to panic on the 1st if my library card is not renewed. And then read chapter 3 in Atomic Habits, which is just such a stumbling block for me right now. So if I'm just going to commit to 1 chapter. So.
Lee, if you want, if it would help you, would you want to buddy read Atomic Habits? I mean, I've read it before, but I could do a reread. I mean,
sure.
I think the book is very beneficial.
Everyone says that, and I just cannot get into it. I don't know.
Yeah. The audiobook was the difference for me.
Yeah.
When I was walking, I just put it on. And so I was like, I had nowhere to go but listen to the book. And then I got into it. So maybe that'll help.
Okay.
But I mean, if you want, we could even buddy read it and talk about some of the, what the chapters are, just give me a chance to get caught up with you. And
we don't have far to go, believe me. You're like an afternoon. All right, I'm caught up. I'm ahead of you now. So
I just know that sometimes books like that, I mean, I know the journey that my sister and I went through for her to read A New Earth. She was new to Eckhart Tolle's teaching somewhat. I think she had read A Power of Now, or she was familiar with it. But I know for us, we read a chapter at a time, and we would come together and we would meet on Zoom, and we would just kind of talk about, what worked for you? What do you not get from this? This is not really realistic, or whatever. And it helped us, like in our relationship, like even we got much closer. And of course, it was a reread for me. Anybody that I can convince to read A New Earth, I'm just like, because I love it. I just think there's a lot that you can get out of it. But I'd be willing to do that because I'm making a list of books personal development books that I need to reread just to, get to remind myself, because when I read them, I'm like gung ho and I do all that stuff. And then something happens and it kind of derails me a little bit. But to me, if you can put your systems in place, even if you have stumbling blocks, your systems are there, and you got to fall back on those systems. So that means that my systems were shaky to begin with, if I can derail that easily, kind of thing, So anyway, that's something we can chat about if you would like to do that. Sure. What about you, Jen? What's on your agenda for next week?
I'd like to finish reading Private Rights by Julia Armfield. I started it a couple of days ago and I am enjoying it. And it's not that long, so I'd like to finish it. I am also reading Fever House by Keith Rawson, and I like it, but it's like a chunkier book and there's a lot of different points of view. So I probably won't finish that this week, but I would like to get some more reading done in that book. And then I'm going to be working on a deep response to Carrie by Stephen King for a particular project that someone is working on that will be coming out at some point. That's all I can say, but I am really diving back into Carrie, which is familiar territory because I did write about Carrie in my thesis. So I'm kind of revisiting some personal responses with Carrie. So that's challenging because I am writing about my own experiences as related to some of the events that happened to Carrie. So I am working on that, and I would also like to continue working on my Vember graphics. That's the one thing I did not get to this past week, but it's in November, so I have time. But I also want to make sure that I'm doing a little bit at a time so it doesn't sneak up on me.
I think that's very smart. Learn from my mistakes. I have that on my list, for ideas, things that I'm thinking about doing for my readathons, because as much as I love them, and mine are pretty low key, but Zombie-thon, I basically decided to do things like at the last minute. Like I was inspired and I was very stressed out during that month. It may not have seemed like that, but it was very overwhelming to like start big things, knowing I really did not have the time. I mean, it all worked out, but
yes, it was great.
Yes, but I learned my lesson that, what, if you want to make big changes like that, do it when you have time, a little bit, chip away a little bit at a time, and then it'll be better. But with that being said, Jen, think about what short story we're going to think about for Nevermore, like what we want to read next.
Yes.
And I'll touch base with you soon.
I have
what we want to do.
I have one I'd really like to recommend.
Yeah. So, for me, I have Project Dad. That's what I'm calling it. I need to get down and help my dad clear his house so that he can do the projects that he wants to finish in there. He's actually taken some furniture from my mother-in-law's house, and he needs to make room for that. So in order to do that, we've got to clear stuff out. So Project Dad starting next week. Jumpstart July. This is just my brainchild that I'm going to do. July 1st, I am going to keep track of everything that I do in July to like be accountable for everything. Walking, eating better, trying to get my meds, adjusted for reflux, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to keep a log of it all month long so that I can look at it and either give myself a gold star, or I can be like, what the heck's your problem? What got in the way of you doing this? Were you sitting around, or were you dilly-dallying? Were you procrastinating? What were you doing? What were you doing? So Jumpstart July is going to jumpstart the second half of the year. That's what it's all about. And then I'm, of course, going to be working on my scrapbook room. And I've decided with my scrapbook room and my library, I'm going to set a timer. I like what Lee was saying about like the 5 minutes, the 10 minutes, dividing it up. I think if I could devote an hour to my scrapbook scrapbook room / library with the decluttering part, set the timer, get in there, and be like those shows where people are given the buggy and they've got like 10 minutes to go and get all the groceries or whatever they're trying to get. That is what I think I'm going to do.
Please record that.
So
Yes, please, please.
imagine running in and running out. But I just think, and then what I think I'm going to do is try to see if I can have progress on how much gets done in that time. Now, you know how things work out. Sometimes you get involved in it. You do spend a little more time than that. But that's what I have to just tell myself. If I can give myself this amount of time, do it. And I'm going to have to do the Mel Robbins thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then get into it and just go. And then my last thing is I want to write 2 blog posts this week. I want to write a blog post about Jumpstart July, and then I want to write a blog post about Halfway Day. So those are the 2 things that I would like to write them, publish them on my blog post, and, you know, get myself excited. So we'll see. We'll see. Like I say, I like to plan all this stuff, and then I'm like, what did I say I was going to do? So Alexa says, I love this question. Okay. And then keep working on my to-do list. Monday, I need to get a new phone. I dropped it a week ago, Friday. Thank goodness I have my tablet. Jen, you can identify with that.
Yes, I can very much identify with that.
Alicia said, for the upcoming week, my intentions are to declutter a bit, pick a new theme week for the kiddos, and plan our family vacation stuff in July. Video filming, lots of video filming and editing. And Chris says, I'm good for reading Atomic Habits. Well, if you want to join in, we can do that. I'll see what Lee's schedule is, and we can kind of plan it. Lee's not making super, like, it's not like she's flying through it, apparently. So
I'm on like page 47, and I've been reading this for months, which means I haven't picked it up in months. So
right. Alicia enjoyed Atomic Habits, and I listened to the audiobook. I'll reread it with you as well. Wonderful. And then who is the author of, what was it, New Earth? It is Eckhart Tolle. So he's a wonderful little man. He's got a really interesting story of how he became a spiritual teacher. He's very calming, and he's just a little sweetheart. He really is. But a lot of his ideas just make a lot of sense to me. I mean, once I read A New Earth back when I was 40, it changed my perspective on a lot of things, and I let go of a lot of fear, because it was sort of like, you know what, that's what's been holding me back from a lot in my life. And anytime I start feeling like I need like a pep talk, I will reread it, just because it's like, something needs to change. So let me read this and refresh my brain. And you got this. I recently reorganized my office craft room, and it makes me so happy. Go Cat. Yes, I know I am. I know it's going to be wonderful, because when I do clear stuff out, I am way more productive. And one of the things that I realized when I was preparing for my scrapbook event is that I have pieces and parts all over the place. So like, say, for example, I have Andrew's graduation from college. I'll have a newspaper with that information, an article or whatever, on this pile. I have another pile that has like his little mini diploma. Then I'll have his information in a pocket, sleeve or whatever. And then the pictures are on the phone. I need to marry all of that. So what I want to do is I want to be able to put everything out in piles and then start my envelopes. That way I can just pull them, because that's one reason why I didn't get a whole lot done at the event, is because I knew, oh no, I do have that. I have something with that information for prom, and I want to make sure, even if I don't include it in it, I want to at least be able to consider it. So that is my big thing. And then who knows, we might have a scrapbook night. We might have an online scrapbook night, even if it's like a private scrapbook night. Anybody that wants to craft. So thank you for the author. I'll put it on hold at my library. Very nice. So that is all we have for episode 16. I'm excited about the upcoming week. I hope y'all are excited as well. And I hope everything gets done. Or if it doesn't get done, you give yourself grace if it doesn't get done. Because sometimes things happen that are out of our control. We can't control everything. So we just got to go with the flow. So, does anyone have anything you would like to say to our friends before we, leave for the day?
You're
I
just
just love
giving,
you all and appreciate you all.
you're giving me the opportunity here that I've wanted to say to Eleanor this whole time. I love your photo. I think it's like so beautiful, so sophisticated, you looks like such an empowered woman in that photo, and I really, really love it. And I mean to say that every time, but you just gave me the opening, so thank you.
Yes, I love that. And Eleanor says, yes, I use clear envelopes to organize all my projects. So we have thank yous. Anybody else have anything they would like to say?
Have a great week.
Yes, have a great week. Okay, on that note, thank you all so very much. And until next Saturday, do whatever you need to do to make yourself feel empowered, happy, and full of joy. And see you next time.